Thanksgiving time is just around the corner, you guys, and you know what? I do not want to spend so much money on Thanksgiving this year. I want to stay within a budget, so today I'm going to be sharing with you a $20 Thanksgiving budget meal plan. This did feed my family, which is 6 of us, and we had a lot of leftovers, so this would definitely be good for probably 6 to 10 people. So let me share with you everything that I got, and then we're going to get started cooking this absolutely delicious Thanksgiving dinner. Here's the groceries that I have for this Thanksgiving dinner. So I'm gonna do some chicken instead of turkey because that's gonna save our budget some. And then we have some corn. I need 2 cans of corn. I just have like this half a bag, and this whole bag only cost $1 for me. But you guys can use like any type of cracker that you want. It doesn't have to be these oyster crackers. I would just grab whatever you guys kind of like have in the pantry, like Ritz crackers, saltines, whatever you guys have. And then I need a box of white cake mix, some half and half. This is just, I just need like a half of a cup. So I'm gonna put in the description box like all the ingredients and how much everything costs. So I'm gonna put in like half a block, like not a half a block, but half of a pound of cheese. So an 8-ounce block, that's what I'll put in the description box for you guys. I'm gonna need quite a bit of butter for all these meals though. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my budget. I'm gonna need some corn muffin mix, some sour cream, a dozen eggs. I'm not sure we're gonna use the whole dozen, but I definitely want to grab at least a dozen eggs, some cream cheese, some baby carrots, and some russet potatoes. And like I said before, we are gonna be using some pantry staples, like some flour, some yeast. So all of these ingredients cost about $22. So we're going to be having a very nice and lovely Thanksgiving dinner. I'm only going to be making enough for my family of 6. We are going to have some leftovers probably in the side section. But I'm only going to be cooking for 6 people. I'm very certain that we're going to have leftovers, but this isn't going to be like feeding 30 people, but we're definitely going to have leftovers. We're going to see how many servings we can get out of this $22. We shall see. So I'm wanting to get started on my carrots first because I'm actually going to be putting these in the crock pot. I like to put anything that I can in the crock pot when it comes to Thanksgiving meals. So I'm going to put 1 to 2 pounds of carrots. I just put in 1 pound, but you guys can double this if you prefer. And then I'm going to add in 4 tablespoons of butter. And then 2 tablespoons of honey, or if you guys want more honey, I am not going to judge you, y'all. I absolutely adore honey, and it's going to make this dish super, super delicious. And then I need 1 teaspoon of parsley. It calls for fresh parsley, but I don't have any on hand, so I'm just using the herbs that I have in my pantry already. And then I need half a teaspoon of garlic salt, and then 1 tablespoon of garlic. And then I'm just going to go ahead and throw the lid on. I'm going to put this on high for about 3 hours until these carrots are nice and tender. And oh my goodness, this is smelling delicious. The next thing I'm going to want to get started on is my chicken. So I'm going to make a dry rub. So I'm going to start off by adding 1 teaspoon of basil, and then 3/4 teaspoon of garlic salt, half a teaspoon of dried thyme, and then some rosemary. I don't have any fresh rosemary, so I'm just going to be adding in 1 teaspoon of rosemary. And then I love paprika, so I'm going to be adding in half a teaspoon of paprika. I'm going to give this a really good stir, making sure that dry rub is nice and even. And then we're actually going to just set this to the side, and then we're going to get started on our chicken and preparing our chicken. So to just a little dish, I'm just going to add in 4 tablespoons of butter, and I want to get that nice and melted. And I'm going to add my chicken to a nice, it's not a 9 by 13, it's a little bit smaller. I think it's more like an 8 by 13 or an 8 by 11. And I'm just going to put my chicken in there. I don't have like a nice like roasting pan, so I'm just going to put it in here and it's going to cook just fine. I'm going to go ahead and place that butter right on top of my chicken and just spread that around everywhere that I possibly can. The more butter, you guys, the better. I know a lot of people that don't use the melted butter, but they just kind of put the stick of butter kind of everywhere all over the chicken. I'm going to do the melted butter effect and see how that goes. It turned out really well, so It's kind of just whatever you guys prefer. And then I'm going to take that dry rub and just put it all over our chicken. This doesn't seem like a lot of dry rub, but it actually was. It was pretty suffice for my little chicken. And so I'm just placing that all over my chicken. You really want to lather this up and make sure that that rub is absolutely everywhere, because that's where the flavor is going to be for our chicken. And you even want to make sure you go inside that chicken to make sure that there's lots and lots of flavor in there. I like to add like lemon all over my chicken. Also, I like to put like lemon inside the chicken, and that's going to give it some flavor. And you definitely want to make sure that you put some salt inside the chicken as well, because that inside part is just not getting very much flavor at all. It's mainly the outside, so definitely want to make sure that you flavor up the inside as well. And then I'm just going to put some garlic all over the top of my chicken. I absolutely love a garlic flavor, so that's what you see me doing here, and I want that everywhere, of course. And then I'm also just going to go ahead and add in any of the rest of the butter that I have. You just want to make sure you're using up all of that butter. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that in my preheated oven for 450 degrees for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to go ahead and take that off of 450 and cook it at 350 for the remaining hour. So it's going to cook for about an hour and 10 minutes total. The next thing I want to get started on is some cookies, because they're going to have to chill in the refrigerator for a couple hours. So I want to get started on those. So I'm going to need a box cake. It calls for either a spice cake, or you can use a white cake mix and just add in some more like cinnamon and cloves and pumpkin spice. That's what I did. And now I'm adding in a third cup of melted butter, and my son is helping me here, making sure that these cookies are to his standard. And then I'm going to add 2 eggs and give that a good stir. And you will see me adding the cinnamon, and that's just because I used a white cake mix. My son here is going to help me stir this together, but you can use this with a spoon, or you can do an electric mixer. I kind of like spoons when it comes to cookies, just because it gets super thick. So I might start off with some beaters, but I end up doing it with a spoon. And this is exactly what it's going to look like, and I'm going to refrigerate this for a couple hours. Now we're going to get started on a Nantucket corn pudding. You have to say that Southern. And we're going to need 2 cans of corn. Make sure that that is drained. And then we're going to need 1 cup of half and half. I need a half a teaspoon of salt, an 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. And then I am going to put just a little bit of nutmeg, just to give it a little bit of some zang. And then we're going to need 2 large eggs. And you definitely want to make sure that you kind of mix the eggs together right there, or have them already beaten before you stir all this up together. And then we need some butter, of course. I need just about 3 to 4 tablespoons of melted butter. And then I have these oyster crackers, and I need 3/4 a cup, but I'm only going to add half of that right now, and then we'll add the other half at the end. So I'm just going to give this a really good stir, making sure everything is well combined. I just had a hard time getting those eggs beaten up how that I wanted them to, so I would definitely suggest beating them before you add them to the bowl. Now I'm going to go ahead and spray my pan, and I'm going to go ahead and pour this at the bottom of my 9x13 pan, making sure everything is in there and good to go, nice and even. And then we're going to go ahead and add our cheese just right on top. So we have a half a cup of cheddar cheese, and then I'm going to go ahead and add our oyster crackers just right on top of that. Okay, and then we have the remaining butter. So we have about 1.5 tablespoons of butter that we're going to put right on top of that. And then I'm going to cook this at 350 for about 40 to 45 minutes. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and do my cookies, because they have been in my refrigerator for a couple hours. So I'm going to go ahead and place these up. I did half of them to where they were just like regular cookies, and the other half to where I made them into like crinkle cookies. So it's definitely your preference, whatever you kind of like to do, but you're going to cook these at 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes. And me and my kids, we definitely preferred the crinkle cookies. They were a lot better. Of course, when you add more sugar to things, of course it tastes better. So I made the balls a little bit smaller, and then I just smothered them in some powdered sugar, and they tasted absolutely divine. I really liked this really easy recipe on some like cake mix cookies, and they were absolutely delicious. And then one of the last things that I want to do is make some mashed potatoes, but they're going to be more of like a garlicky mashed potato. So I'm going to need 4 pounds of potatoes, and I'm just going to boil them like normal. I'm going to add this whole stick of butter to the bottom of my pan. I'm going to go ahead and add my potatoes right on top of that. And then we're going to go ahead and add in some cream cheese. That's not something normally I would add to my potatoes, but my oh my, they were absolutely delicious with these cream cheese. I added 1 cup of sour cream to this potatoes as well. And then I'm going to add some pepper and some garlic salt, just because I want some garlicky flavor. I was out of garlic powder, or else I would have used garlic powder. Garlic powder is more of my go-to. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of paprika, because y'all know I love my paprika. So maybe about half a teaspoon of paprika. And then I'm going to give this a good stir until everything is nice and well combined. I did not need any dairy products to add to this. I didn't need milk or half and half or heavy whipping cream, which is typically how I make my potatoes, but the cream cheese and the butter was suffice, and this was probably the most creamiest mashed potatoes I have ever had in my life. It was so good. Here is the final product. Everything turned out wonderful. Everything was done within about 4 hours tops. The thing that took the longest was the chicken. Everything was so wonderful. My husband absolutely loved everything that I made, and I did make some bread, some homemade bread. I just didn't show it in the video because it's fairly simple, and I've made it so many times on my channel before. I did not want to bore you with making my bread once more. Y'all see those mashed potatoes and how creamy it is. And this, when I plated it up, it kind of looked weird, but you guys, you have to try this corn, like this Nantucket corn. It was so delicious. My kids loved it. The carrots, I think, were my husband's favorite. He really likes carrots, and he really likes carrots when they're done right. And the chicken was so tender, so juicy, so flavorful. My family absolutely enjoyed this. They loved it so much, and we had lots of leftovers. I was very surprised on how many leftovers we had, but I would say this fed probably us a couple times, so I would say this was about 15 servings or so, and it was a very just wonderful and delicious Thanksgiving dinner. I definitely suggest making the chicken and that Nantucket pudding. So good. You guys are going to want to make this over and over again, and how simple and easy this meal was, and I was not in the kitchen all day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys like these budgets. I love doing holiday budgets. I like to kind of challenge myself to see if I'm able to stick within a certain budget and be able to feed my family an absolutely delicious dinner. So I hope that you guys like it. Of course, I did not cook with turkey or ham. Those are going to be more on the expensive side. So if you guys really want to do that, you can still do that within a budget. Ibotta is offering some really awesome offers. If they're giving out like sides and a free turkey if you do a certain amount of offers. So for me, it's like 10 offers and then I get like all the sides for free, which is a really great offer. So the sides I think is worth maybe 10 bucks, and then the turkey you can get up to like $14, $15 off. So definitely consider that if you guys like using rebates. I love using rebates. That's what helps save me so much money. So I will, within the next probably couple of weeks, I will be doing that and getting a free turkey. So definitely keep that in mind. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next haul. Bye guys.